A very warm welcome to the Vishwa Shanti Darshan channel. Over the years, you have been watching programs on peace, spirituality, science, religion. And today, we have someone who's going to speak to us on practically all these subjects. Because if these things are not there in our lives, we are incomplete individuals. But I can't say that for our guest today. It's my pride and honor to introduce to you Mrs Nalini Gupta, who is well and truly a complete individual. We talk about women empowerment today, but at the time when she entered the industry, I don't think she even knew what was the meaning of women empowerment. For her, it was self-empowerment. She entered an industry which was male-dominated then and is male-dominated now. But let's take a look at her journey and how she has carved a niche for herself in this industry. I talk about the travel and tourism industry, and that too cruising. If cruising came to India, it was thanks to her. A very warm welcome to our studios, Mrs. Gupta. Thank you so much for joining us today. When we are talking about women empowerment, when we are talking about gender empowerment, we think that the travel industry entire sector should be women oriented, because as you said, they are the ones that bring in the soft skills. But for that gender to be empowered, how strong do you think is the family support that is needed to empower those women to say, go, spread your wings and fly?
I think it's very important. I think I think fortunately it's moving in that direction. Today we are moving from males who are from a male-oriented society, or like the macho society. We're moving to people at an equal level, where the man of the house understands the needs of a woman. It's just more than being a housewife. She has skills beyond that. So I think they've recognized that, and fortunately I was very fortunate in that. I had my in-laws, my husband, everybody who actually moved me and allowed me to feel, not feel guilty for not being there at home, but help. But for personally, I feel I was a happier person. So when I came home, even if it was lesser hours, I was a happier human being. So I think they saw that, and I think more and more people are seeing that. And from a personal perspective, I think each one of us, as an employer now today, 80% of my team are women, only because of the fact that I think they understand the needs better. So I think each one starts from home. So I cannot project what an airline or another big company can do, but each one is moving in that direction. So I think women are becoming more employable as well, because they have realized they can be more than just being housewives. So they've gone out there, got graduation, they've got taken tourism, travel and tourism courses. So I think today's woman is also very smart. So besides myself, I think the whole women sector as a workforce is growing by leaps and bounds.
Connecting with that, when you first started our interview, you said you felt connected to the soul because you came here and you read those beautiful inscriptions even as you were climbing the stairs to the dome. How strong is spirituality and how strong is a work-life balance which is needed in everyone's life? Because the younger generation believes in the instant generation. They want to get everything quicker. They want to burn the candle at both ends. And I think quite a few of us also do that. Let's not blame the younger generation. Yes. So how important is it keeping that work-life balance? And how important is philosophy and spirituality in our day-to-day lives?
I think it's very important. I think to a large extent, the positivity which comes in your life, or your attitude towards life is a lot linked with the kind of environment you've had at home and the factors outside of yourself. So from my home side, I think my mother, fortunately for me, always put in this element of saying education is important, you must stand first, you must do your best, but just remember, nothing is as important as your peace of mind. True. Nothing is as important as your health. Nothing is as important in making sure you don't make enemies along your way. So those are basic teachings. But as I grew older, as I read more, as I came to places like this, I was so inspired. At the end of it all, I just in my mind told myself that, if this is what life is all about, it's worth it. If life is materially, it has its own fulfillment, but you need food for your soul all the time. And these kind of moments are truly unmatched. So I think I must thank Mr. Karat for having the foresight, the visionary that he is in saying that, and the younger generation need this more than all of us.
True.
I think they are chasing technology. They're deep into technology. They are probably doing very good education streams, and now the world is open, because earlier we just had few streams of studies. You had to be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer. But today the world has opened, and when I saw on this campus the various universities which are there, even if you to be a singer, there was a structured program to become a singer. So I think it's like, I think the world, opening the world for the world. Literally, the world options for the whole world to come and see. And I think this is just a small example of what truly philosophy is all about, what social connect is all about. And I think that piece is what touched me the most. And I think may people like him literally multiply, because the world requires us more than anything else.
Very true, very true. We're all very proud to be connected with Vishwa Shanti Darshan.
Yes.
So my next question to you is, you have spoken about what the younger generation should do, but if you were to give one bit of advice to the aspiring people, whether they're boys or whether they're girls, for this industry, for the travel and tourism industry, what would that be?
I would say sincere hard work. Nothing can substitute that. Sincerely, if there is a challenge, don't view it like a challenge. Just say, okay, there is an issue, how do I sort it out? And I think, instead of getting intimidated by the people who you think if you reach out there's a problem, reach out. Because people see sincerity, people see the true genuineness of you. And you'll be surprised of how many people want to help you. So I think I've had these kind of experiences almost every day. To this day I have those experiences where if I have reached out. So I think they need to believe in themselves. They need to believe that everything is okay. I think they stress themselves out too much. They just don't have to worry about the future. They're in such good hands. They just need to believe in themselves, work really hard, and truly think that everything is possible.
And because of those very words that you said, how important do you think is the role of a mentor in the lives of any professional, be it you when you were younger or be it the new generation? Are you mentoring the new generation in your industry?
Yes, absolutely important, because I've had mentors, 2 or 3 mentors during my entire career, and each one of them played a very critical role, because you go through uncertainties, and some of these mentors actually helped me to further showcase myself. So there are these selfless people who do it, and I think what you've got, you need to give back. There is no free lunch in life. If you've got it from X, you may not have to give it back to X, but he's given you a quality which you need to actually disseminate to the next levels. And I think it's very important. And I think a lot of people within my company who don't leave, it's only because I feel they see beyond an employee, they see a mentor. And I think a mentor is somebody who truly, literally, selflessly looks at the growth of that person. So even if that person who's in my team wants to leave for another company, but if it's for his good, I think a good mature mentor would let him go. Absolutely. And I think that element of work attitude is very important. So I think when you say I'm an entrepreneur, you have to be a selfless entrepreneur sometimes.
Very true. I think one of the last questions would be, how would you define cruising for the Indian community? Because we are used to traveling. We are used to traveling with our food. That plays a big role in Indian culture. So when they think about going onto a foreign ship or going to foreign seas and shores, I think the biggest fear they have is, will we get our Indian dal, chawal, chapati? That is the first question which I have seen people ask. So what should they expect when they hear the word cruising?
For me, the reason I got into the cruising sector, besides being the fact that it was just 1% of the entire global numbers, I got into it only because I realized it's perfect for the Indian market. Mm-hmm. The Indians want to ensure, they're always, most Indians, I'm talking about myself as well, we are all the time in activity mode. You can't just let us put us into the sand and sea and tell them, okay, stand out there for 8 hours. We need to say what's next. Right. And the cruise has well-planned activities for the whole day, and they have food all the time. So they have about 4 or 5 meals in a day, and they take you to a new port. So every morning it's a new skyline. And I think that's very exciting. But like you said, an Indian requires a dal, chawal, sabji. So most cruise liners right now, the big cruise liners are international cruise liners, and very often many of them used to think, everybody adjusts to food of that particular land. Why can't the Indians adjust? But for Indians, you talk to him through the stomach. If his stomach is not happy, he is not happy. So you need to make sure that his food is good, or rather he's got food which he's used to. Maybe one day he might have an international cuisine, but the next day he wants his basics. And in the true sense, I think that's what most international cruise liners have understood. And most of them, fortunately, a lot of the workforce on cruise liners are Indians, but now they're getting expert chefs, or they allow you to bring your chefs on board to ensure that the standards that Indians are used to. Our tongues have really in that sense been pampered. So we need good tasty food. I think most of them are now beginning to cater to that element of the requirement. And I think cruising is something an Indian is loving, and that's the reason at any given time when you have a sailing from India, you don't even have to market it itself on its own.
Oh wow. And actually that was my next question, that where do you see cruising go from here onwards for the Indians? And you just said it.
Yes.
So you think that it's going to just move exponentially?
So if cruise liners can come into India as per what there is a cruising policy for which I'm also part of that committee, where we are doing a Vision 2000 cruising policy for the country. If that policy is clear, I think more cruise liners will come. But right now, even despite it being not so clear, many of them are looking at India. In the meantime, what Indians are doing they're going to nearby countries. You can't stop an Indian traveler. He wants to travel. So he's going to Singapore, he's going to Dubai, he's going to closer destinations or visa easy destinations. Once it is from India, you don't even need visas, and that's a big win. So I think from my perspective right now, while we are still small numbers, we'll have a big number by the time we're 2030.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for speaking to us today. We wish you all the best, and we hope that more and more Indians take up cruising as one of their activities in their vacations and their holidays, because I think tourism is, especially cruising, is truly family oriented. There's something for the grandparent, there's something for the parents, there's something for the kids. So I know it's going to be an all-in-one package. So best of luck, and we hope to see India really shine in the world of cruising.
Like everything else.
So as Mrs. Gupta said, women empowerment, said and done. It is self-empowerment that all of you need to work for. Thank you very much, Mrs. Gupta, for speaking to us today. You are listening to Vishwa Shanti Darshan channel. This is Shubhani Sharma. See you again next time.